Hello, this is Shade Catchum, and welcome to 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. The first entry in the ZeroEscape series. Let me just check real quick. Yep, we should be good. With the upcoming release of No Sleep for Kaname Date, the latest entry in the the Somnium File series, it felt right to check where many of these escape room games essentially began. Especially since that game seems to be taking some inspiration based on the trailers we've seen. So, let me take you on a journey through this fascinating game that has been my favorite for years now. Or at least one of my favorites. Creating save data? It doesn't really matter. That works. This game is fiction. Don't take it too seriously. There are 2 modes of play, novel and adventure. I will explain those shortly. A loud noise startled Junpei awake, and his eyes snapped open.
What the?
As they adjusted to the light, he realized he didn't recognize his surroundings. I have to read that dialogue very quickly, or rather read the text very quickly because it immediately cuts off. With a crack, Junpei's head connected with something metal. He rolled over and threw out his hand to steady himself, but he found himself groping at empty air.
What? Whoa!
His balance lost and his still fuzzy mind struggling to understand what was going on, Junpei tumbled down to the cold, gray floor.
Ouch! God damn it! What the hell?
This game is rated M, by the way, so if you're not fine with swearing and descriptions of violence, then this game may not be for you. Now, you may have noticed a flash on the screen, and we now have a text box at the bottom as opposed to the narration. This is adventure mode, which basically means, well, exactly what I said. There is no narration, and it is just the characters speaking in their text boxes. Go up here, press this, and you will see you are now in novel mode, indicated when the screen flashes. You can do this almost whenever you want, though you will occasionally be locked into one. Also, the game will occasionally switch between them automatically, just like it did there. Please keep this in mind depending on what version of the game you would like to play. I typically recommend novel mode due to the much greater amount of detail that it provides, even including some additional foreshadowing. But it's truly up to you. Adventure mode will get you through the game quicker. I will personally be sticking to novel mode for as often as I can. Junpei glared around the room, still trying to determine where he'd woken up. The fall had shaken the last cobwebs of sleep from his mind, and finally he understood where he'd fallen from.
A bed?
A 3-level bunk bed, in fact. Junpei had fallen, apparently, from the topmost bunk.
I fell pretty far. That really hurt.
His shoulder hurt, his knee hurt, his hip hurt, his entire body hurt. He could feel a bump forming on his forehead where he'd slammed it against the low ceiling.
Damn, my eyesight's kind of blurry. Must have hit my head.
No, wait. That's not it.
At first, he thought the tremor that ran through his legs was just another effect of his rude awakening, but as he looked around, he realized it was real. The whole room was shaking.
An earthquake. But it's shaking too fast for that.
Then again, Junpei had no idea what it was, if not an earthquake.
Anyway.
It's loud, whatever it is. Junpei rubbed the growing bump on his head and gingerly climbed to his feet. His balance regained, he finally took his first good look around the room. And muttered to himself.
Where am I?
His pain momentarily forgotten in the face of the... I need to go back up to that because the narration cut off prematurely. His pain momentarily forgotten in the face of the confusion of his circumstances, Junpei looked around the room once again. Minutes passed while Junpei struggled to get his bearings. Thank God this game has a log feature so you can read back. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, the tremor ceased.
Wait, it stopped?
Good, because it was a little too loud for my liking. A cold silence fell over the room. From somewhere far away, Junpei could hear the sound of metal squeaking.
What's that sound?
In an attempt to distract himself, Junpei looked around the room once more. There was a stove that looked more antique than functional. The 3-level bunk bed had mattresses that were so thin that they were little more than blankets. On the other side of the room was an identical bed, and set in the wall between the beds was a slightly dirty iron door.
That's...
The first thing Junpei noticed about the door was the number roughly emblazoned across it. On the surface of the door, in red paint, someone had written 5.
5? What's this 5 mean?
Suspicious and still utterly confused, Junpei approached the door, slowly. Standing at last in front of the door, Junpei grabbed hold of the L-shaped handle. A push yielded no movement, and a pull the same result.
It won't open.
It didn't matter how much he pushed and shoved, the handle wouldn't budge. Next to the door was an odd-looking device that reminded Junpei of a card reader.
What's this? Is this keeping the door shut?
Junpei knocked hard on the door.
Hey! Hello? Is anyone there? Open the door!
There was no response. Junpei threw his left fist into the door. And stopped.
Huh? What the hell is this?
He wasn't really sure what else to say. On his left wrist was a bracelet of a sort he'd never seen before. In the center was a large LCD display.
A watch? It doesn't look like one. 5. That's the same as the door.
Congratulations, Junpei, you have basic observational skills. True, the numbers were the same, but he had no idea what that might mean. All he knew was that it was strange and new, and he wanted it off. Junpei flipped his hand over as if to remove a watch, but...
What? How do I take this off?
Considering the year this game takes place, I'm quite surprised that there's anyone still even wearing watches. The other side of the bracelet was solid. No buckle, no clasp, nothing. He sighed and flipped the thing back over. There were a number of rivets around the rim of the face. Perhaps...
Maybe pushing something on this will work?
He pushed them, but nothing happened. On a watch, they might be dials for adjusting date or time, but on this bracelet, they did nothing.
Nothing. Damn. Guess I'll have to force it off.
It's probably not a good idea. You know, something bad could probably happen under some circumstances. Growing more desperate, he began to tug at it. However...
No good. This stupid thing won't come off.
I mean, if it was on you for a reason, Junpei, you really think it would come off that easily? A steel ring ran from the face around Junpei's wrist and back into the face. He wouldn't be pulling the bracelet off anytime in the near future.
What the hell is the deal with this thing?
I don't know, he might get it off in... Let's give him a few hours. Frustration and desperation were beginning to mix as the reality of the situation began to dawn fully on Junpei. So much was happening, and none of it made sense. Junpei felt as though he were about to explode.
Where am I? And why the hell am I here? Why? What the hell happened to me? My head.
Pain bloomed, but he did his best to shake it off. He raised his head.
Huh.
It was at that moment that he noticed the window.
This is...
The window was round, rimmed in riveted brass, like a window from an early 20th century ship.
Hold on. Am I on a ship?
Possibly. Might be too soon to tell. Junpei walked slowly toward the window. He could see nothing beyond it but thick, impenetrable darkness. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, would be right at home.
I can't see anything. If only it wasn't so dark outside.
Junpei squinted, trying to see something. Anything. It was at that moment.
Huh? What the... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What the hell is going on here?
Well, something bad, clearly. I hope you can swim, Junpei. A crack split the glass of the window, and for a moment Junpei stared at it. Then the window burst, and water began to pour into the room.
What the hell? God damn it!
Get used to that what the hell. That will be Junpei's main catchphrase. Junpei yelled and spun around. His feet slipping on the water already coming through the window, he ran for the door.
Hey! Anyone! Is anyone there? Come on, if you're there, say something!
There was no reply. As Junpei screamed and pounded on the door, the water began to rise. It was now ankle-deep on the floor and rising quickly towards his knees.
It's not stopping. Not good. Not good at all. Okay. I need to find a way out, and fast.
Junpei ran a hand across his forehead, brushing the sweat out of his eyes, and looked around the room. Seek a way out. Welcome to the third-class cabin. Operations during an escape. During an escape, you're restricted to an area. Your goal, search around to uncover how to unlock the door. So basically, if you know what an escape room is, well, you're gonna have fun, because this game is full of them. There are items and hints in the room that will help you escape. Click on a location you find suspicious to search the room. Use Q or E to move around the room. I will not be doing this. Honestly speaking, playing on the PC version, almost everything can be done simply with the mouse. So, yes. The crux of this game is that it is full of escape rooms. You will be solving puzzles. Lots of puzzles over the course of the game. And in case you're thinking, oh my god, what are you doing? You're wasting time. Get out of here before you drown. Don't worry. There's no actual time limit to this escape room. That water will flow forever. I guess there must be a sewer drain somewhere. But yes, the goal here is literally just click around the room to whatever strikes your fancy, find the clues necessary, and figure out the puzzles within so you can unlock the door. Specifically this one for right now. 5. 5, huh? What does that mean? Somebody's painted a big red 5 on the door. None of the dialogue in the escape rooms is voice acted, so I might try and do my best to imitate the voices of characters, but otherwise, well, I might just read it. I guess that's a lever, huh? Maybe if I pull it. Well, it looks like pulling on the lever just makes a weird noise. Great. The light's still red and the display hasn't changed. Damn it! Why the hell isn't this thing opening? The groove on the side of this thing looks like it's made to have a keycard swiped through it or something like that. Maybe if I can find a card, I can unlock this thing. It's a mysterious device with a lever on it. It's got what looks like a card reader on the side, but it's the weirdest card reader I've ever seen. So yes, examining stuff multiple times will either grant you just either some generic dialogue or some occasionally funny fluff dialogue. So it's worth it to click on things multiple times. Sometimes it even offers foreshadowing. I've got it! If I pull off these sheets and shove them into the window, maybe that'll stop the water! Alright, window, let's see how you like this. Shoot, that's not gonna happen. There's way too much water coming through there. No way these sheets are gonna be enough to plug up that window. I guess there's only one way I'm gonna live through this, and that's by getting the hell out of this room. After all, there's not really anything else I can do. I mean, I don't know, Junpei. You can grow gills. Here's the middle bunk for the bed on the left. Man, this is a pretty poor excuse for a bed. There's barely any space between the bed and the ceiling. I don't think I'd even have enough space to turn over. I'd bet money this was for poorer passengers, or maybe the ship's crew. I've gotta die someday, but I sure as hell don't want it to be here. The top bunk of the left bed, I see. Yes, I will be examining pretty much everything and anything I can, especially for that funny dialogue. So if you're thinking I'm wasting time, well, I apologize, but there is a fast forward button on videos. There's a ladder that goes from the floor to the ceiling so that you can get into all three bunks. Well, worst case scenario, I could just climb up there. Yeah, right, like that's gonna work. After all, I want to examine and show off everything I can. This ladder goes up to the top bunk. Well, looks like we've got a light here. And electricity. There's a light filling the room. Guess the electricity is working. Well, I can reach this bunk. Might as well look through it. Huh. Damn, nothing here. The middle bunk is within my reach. Nothing useful on it, though. All I can see from down here is the underside of the top bunk. It's pretty high up there. So, this is the top bunk of the right bed. I can't bring myself to call this a bed. It feels like a board with a sheet on it. It's pretty flat. That doesn't look very comfortable. It's got light blue and white stripes. Kind of reminds me of the Argentinian soccer team. Argentinian? Argentinian. I have forgotten how to pronounce that. I apologize. But yes, funny stuff like that. Did you know that that was the soccer team's colors? If you didn't, you do now. This is a bed, no doubt about it. How astute, Junpei. There's a piece of paper under the pillow. About items. Once you've obtained an item, you'll be able to go to the item screen. Clicking item on the top left will take you to the item screen. Memo from the bed. This note's got a filled in blue square, a blue triangle pointing to the left. Let me read that again. That is hard to speak. This note's got a square and triangle in blue and a triangle and square in red. There's an arrow that goes all the way across the paper. It's red under the symbols and blue under the blue ones. Or red under the red symbols and blue under the blue ones. Of course I'm screwing up my speech about, like, a few minutes into recording. It's got blue and red. Investigate with an item. The item visible in the lower left is the item currently in hand. When you close the item screen, the last selected item will be in hand. If you hold an item while investigating the room, you may trigger a reaction. Try switching out items in hand and search different places. Click the item icon, or press V to quickly change between items. This is probably the only other thing besides the mouse I'll be using. Simply because It's very useful. Just very convenient. There's nothing else under the pillow. Water just keeps pouring through the window. It's like a waterfall. I don't think shoving something into the window is going to stop the water. In other words, if I don't want to die, I need to find a way out of this room. I have to figure this out. Doesn't look like that water's going to stop anytime soon. I have to find a way out. That's a table. Water's pouring onto it like a little waterfall. I don't see anything useful there. That's a table. There's a pair of simple chairs next to the table. The water's already up to the chair. Man, it's slow. It's like it's not dangerous at all. That's totally a chair. What am I thinking? I don't have time to sit down and relax. I don't know, Junpei, you probably have some time. Oh, a pipe. It's a pipe. I know. I'll crawl into the pipe and find a way out. There's nobody here to make fun of my lame jokes. Man, this sucks. Give me a P. Give me an I. Give me a P. Give me an E. What does that spell? Pipe. That pipe's not very big. There's no way I could fit into it, even if it does lead out of here. Whoops. I was trying to click the light. Doesn't seem like there's anything hidden on the sink. This is the only drain in this room. The sink is a piece of junk. Well, I won't be draining any water here, I guess. There's a towel next to the sink. This is, as far as I can tell, a pole that is attached to the bed. This pole is part of the bed. A bulletin board. Looks like someone put a note on it. Well, we have another one. The notes got a triangle and another triangle in red, and a triangle and another triangle in blue. The bulletin board. There's nothing on it. There's a picture frame sitting on top of the shelf. An old picture frame. There's a picture of a ship in it. There's screws keeping the back on. Screws keeping the back of the picture frame on. You can click and drag the item in order to examine it in more detail. I can't see the bottom of the ladder. Oh man, the water's already up to the bottom of the bed. I've got to hurry this up. You probably have a few minutes, Junpei. This is the ladder that goes up to the top bunk. So, ladder, we meet again. Once again, I gaze upon this stately ladder. Ladder? I don't even know her. Most original joke ever. As I gaze into the ladder gazes into me. Hey, so did you hear what that shopkeeper said after his ladder got stolen? No, what did he say? Further steps will be taken. And that's why I have no friends. The ladder watches me. I sense that it finds me wanting. So this friend of mine fell all the way down a 15-foot ladder. Wow, that's pretty bad. How's he doing? Oh, he's alright, but he's feeling pretty wrung out by the whole experience. I should be writing these down. They're comedy gold. I think the ladder is following me. Trying to keep up with all the latest styles has me all wrung out. Well, if it's a choice between being a step for someone else and being a real social climber, I'll take the latter. What do you call a secondary ladder covered in people? A full B ladder. Okay, I need to stop doing these before I hurt myself. Besides, this is no time to be making jokes. I need to get out of here now. You would be good friends with Phoenix and Maya. You could tell them so many jokes. Or just butt right into their conversations about certain things. A ladder appears to have something to do with the bed. And yes, that is why I'm examining multiple times. That is genuinely hilarious. I could keep looking till the cows come home. All I'm gonna find up there is that pillow. Damn it! Isn't there anything else I can use? Here we are at the middle bunk. There's nothing useful here. There's a pipe on the other end of the bed. There's nothing up top. There are some pipes down at the other end of the bed. There's a blue briefcase on top of the bed. We'll come back to that. Well, let's see if there's anything in here. Huh, looks like there is. A key. Yeah, there's a little blue key at the bottom of this pot. Odd. This key's pretty small. Definitely not for a door. What's it for, then? This key's blue. Is it supposed to open something else blue? A small blue key. Maybe it's supposed to open something blue. Nothing in here. I'm looking at a pot lid. It's an old stove. This is the door to the stove. Well, it opens easily enough. Sure wish the door to get out of here was that easy to open. Well, that solves the mystery of whether or not this stove was being used before. What's this? It looks red. A screwdriver. A normal screwdriver. Doesn't seem to be anything special about it. Well, looks like a flathead. Maybe I can use this screwdriver to get these screws off. Examining things multiple times will obviously give you more hints and make it more obvious what you need to do. And the game will explain as soon as I go back. Combining items. Select Combine on the item screen to combine two items. If the two items can be combined, you will receive a new item. If they cannot, then nothing will happen. Try out different combinations of items you find in your search. So yes, click Combine up here. Combine the screwdriver with the picture. Well, the screwdriver got those screws off easily enough, and here's the picture. Picture of an old cruise liner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 0. So someone wrote a bunch of numbers and symbols on the back of the picture, huh? Indeed they did. There are a bunch of numbers and symbols written on the back of this photo. 1 through 5 are empty, and 6 through 9, as well as 0, are colored in. Maybe this has something to do with the relationship between the symbols and the numbers. Indeed it does. So, you do not actually need to do this in order to solve the puzzle, especially if you know it beforehand. But, you know, it can help your first time through. The middle bunk, there's a thin mattress on it. This pipe supports the bed. Small key, red. A small red key. Maybe I'm supposed to use it to open something red.
I should probably hold on to this key.
Go back to novel mode, thank you. You will occasionally get voice-acted cutscenes in the escape rooms. Junpei grabbed the key and shoved it into his pocket. He intended to leave immediately, but something stopped him.
Huh.
His reflection stared back at him from the mirror, but he had scarcely recognized himself.
Oh, what's up with my face?
I don't know, Junpei, I think you look pretty good. His confusion was well justified.
I look like a zombie.
Like a Romero zombie or Resident Evil style zombie? What are we talking here? You have to be more specific. His face was drawn and pale, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look as though he was nearly dead.
Man, what the hell happened to me? How did I end up here? I left work, headed back to my apartment, and...
Even as he said it, something in his mind opened, and a memory bobbed to the surface. It was the last thing Junpei remembered before waking up in the strange room. It was past midnight when he came home. Junpei shuffled up the stairs and opened the door to apartment 201. Inside was his apartment, a small one-bedroom affair that ran him about $630 a month. 6 plus 3 plus 0 is 9. You are going to be seeing a pattern throughout this game. He moved into it when he entered college, and so far he'd been there for 3 years and 7 months.
I'm back. Not like anyone will respond.
He stepped inside and turned on the lights. The fluorescent... God, I have trouble pronouncing that room. The fluorescent lights on the ceiling blinked and flickered slowly to life, as if waking from a deep slumber.
Man, work was rough today.
Their cold light illuminated the landscape he'd come home to so many times before. Everything was as he'd left it. The magazines piled up in the corner, the textbooks collected dust, the CD cases covering the floor, the jeans and t-shirt he'd worn the day before, then tossed onto the floor. Ah, that's relatable. There was one thing that didn't belong, however.
Huh? A breeze.
The white curtain framing his window swayed gently in the cold wind.
Huh, that's weird. Did I leave that open?
Junpei walked toward the window, trying to remember if he'd closed it or not before he left. One of the panes was hanging open. He stuck his head out and looked around.
Everything looks okay. I must have forgotten to close it.
He closed the window. Then it happened.
What?
Junpei turned and found himself face to mask with a man dressed in all black. The man wore a deep hood and a bulky gas mask. His face was entirely hidden.
Who are...
Suddenly, he couldn't finish. Junpei tried to yell, but all he could manage was a strangled croak.
I can't...
Junpei collapsed to the floor, a crumpled heap of limbs like a discarded puppet. Too late, he noticed the white smoke that was quickly filling his apartment. A small object, shaped distressingly like a grenade, sat on the floor in front of his face, hissing. The white smoke poured out of it at an incredible rate. The smoke had grown so thick that the details of Junpei's apartment began to fade into the white haze. He could feel his mind begin to fade as well, a white haze that was not the smoke creeping into the edges of his vision.
Consider this a privilege. You have been chosen.
A rasping voice wormed its way out of the gas mask. It was cold and harsh, and distorted in some way Junpei couldn't put his finger on.
You are going to participate in a game. The memory game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line.
That was the last thing Junpei remembered. The white smoke overpowered him and the masked man from his vision, and he felt his consciousness fall away into the white mist.
That's right. That guy with the gas mask. That son of a bitch must have taken me here. When I get my hands on him...
He ground his teeth in frustration and strained to remember anything about his attacker's figure.
Well, I guess there's no way to know if that was a man or not.
Very astute, Junpei. We know nothing about them. It could quite literally be anyone. Don't you love it when you have trouble speaking during a recording? The voice had been cold and mechanical, likely passed through a voice changer, and the body had been covered in a thick cloak.
Just who was that? They said, you have been chosen.
We heard Junpei. What it might mean, that was beyond him.
What the hell is going on? Why me?
There was only one thing from his memory that seemed important.
You are going to participate in a game. The memory game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line.
The nonary game. Huh. What the hell is a nonary game? God damn it!
With a yell, Junpei drove his fist into the mirror. There's nothing left on the mirror. Well, there's only one thing left for us to do. Well, a few things, but... First, the obvious. No dice, it's locked tight. Let's see if there's anything in the keyhole. Huh. 0101. I hope this blue key works. Alright, let's see what happens if I put this blue key in the keyhole. And nothing. I guess I'm gonna need some sort of code for the dial. Minigames. During an escape, your investigation may trigger one of several minigames. All operations for the minigames are done by clicking the screen. Some minigames will require you to manipulate something, while others will only require you to apply the right object or click the right thing. Operation instructions. Clicking the dial will cause it to move to the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way, then click the key. If the numbers are correct, it will unlock. So, yes. Before I go into this, let's back out for a second. It's not opening. Do I have anything that might give me some kind of hint? If I put in the right numbers and turn the key, then it should open. We do indeed have something that will give us a hint. The memos. And if you remember, this effectively tells us what those objects mean, both filled in and the ones without color. So, paying attention to this, you may think that, oh, I just input everything from here. That is not correct. We have to input everything blue. So in this case, we're going for these two, and then these two. We're specifically following the arrow, going from this direction and continuing here. Key in, now I just need to enter the right numbers, and using this knowledge, we can figure out that the code is 0263. Alright, let's see if these numbers work. I turn on the key and, hey, looks like it's working. Yes! Alright, let's open it up. Yes! It opened! Looks like there's something in there. What is this? A file? File screen. If you find any documents or notes during an escape, the information contained in them will be available on the file screen. Press right to open the file screen. Alright, let's see what's in this file. Digital root. Let's see here. Compute a digital root with the following steps. First, add all the numbers in question to one another. If you end up with something greater than a single-digit number, add the digits to one another. For instance, if you have a double-digit number, add the numbers in the tens place to the number in the ones place. Keep adding digits in this manner until you have a single-digit answer. That final single digit is your digital root. Example, the digital root of 678 would be 6 plus 7 plus 8 equals 21. Separate those to 2 plus 1 equals 3. Therefore, the digital root of 678 is 3. Example, the digital root of 1234 would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. Separate those. 1 plus 0 equals 1. Therefore, the digital root of 1234 is 1. I see. So I just keep adding numbers until I get a single-digit number. Oh, looks like there's something on the back of this thing. A notebook, a pen, a calculator, and a stack of key cards. Huh. A stack of blue key cards. Looks like some key cards. There's a number written on each card. 6, 7, and 8. Does that mean something? Well, the digital root of those is 3, so... Key cards with the numbers 6 through 8. New material has been added to the file screen. Calculator. Press left to open the calculator screen. The calculator can also calculate a digital root, which will be important to the progression of the story. So, yes. Doesn't look like there's anything else in the briefcase. If you don't want to press those buttons, you can always just click on the menu and go to here. This is your file. This is your calculator. This is something we'll talk about later. This is your save. This is your map, which is basically an overview of the room. This camera is you. You never really need to use that. This is something we'll talk about later. For the file screen, well, it basically tells you right here what it is. It gives you the full explanation of what it just said, and you can also press off if you want to see the image behind it. Let me just get these off there. These are basically telling you your controls for the game. But I know how to play the game, so I don't particularly need them. As well as escape tips. But once again, don't really need them. Well, that one may be helpful at some point. So, what is behind door number 2? It's a closet. Closet. Not much here. There are some hangers on the pole. How insightful. The curtain is already open. This is just like the blue briefcase. Yep, there's a lock on this one too, and it's not opening. Well, you know what we do, kids. Alright, let's stick that red key in there. It's not opening. In fact, it's not doing anything at all. Well, alright, I take that back. I guess I can move the dial now. Whoopsies. Turn the key. I do that, and I should pop right open. Let's give it a shot. Sometimes I wish double-clicking wasn't as effective as it was. So in the case of this one, if we followed the clues correctly, in this case, look at the memos and do the exact same thing we did before. Look at the red shapes in order. Doing that, we can figure out that the correct code is 7485. Yes! I unlocked it. It's opening. These look like key cards. There's a number on each one. 1, 2, 3. Huh. 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. That's nice to know. There's nothing left in the briefcase. As a side note, in case the digital root explanation was a little weirdly worded and you possibly didn't get it, it's much easier to understand if you simply write it down on paper. So, for an example, write down the title of the game. 999. Separate those numbers and add them together. 9 plus 9 plus 9. That'll equal 27. Of course, that's not a single digit, so then separate those numbers and add them together. 2 plus 7. That'll equal 9. The digital root of 999 is 9. Of course, if you don't wish to do that, you also have the calculator. It will do some basic addition for you. It can also do subtraction and multiplication. There's no real point in division, apparently. And it can compute a digital root. Like such. So that'll make it easy. You never really need to write it down. These cards with numbers on them. I'm pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to use them. Alright, let's slide these cards to see if they work. And... Huh? It's not working. Why? Damn it. No, that's right. I still have cards I haven't used. Shoot, I can't get it to do anything with just these red cards. I think I'm gonna need some other colors if I'm gonna get anything out of this thing. You are correct. Damn it, not again. There aren't any more cards in here. I've only got one other hint. Of course, the files. That file said something about a digital root. A digital root. The digital root, huh? What am I supposed to do with... There's a 5 on that door. Do I have to get a digital root of 5? I'm not really sure about this. Now, whatever, it's worth a shot. Let's see if this works. I'll just slide the cards that give me the digital root of 5 through the reader. Operating instructions. Click 3 cards to select them. The digital root of the selected cards will be displayed. Clicking reset will deselect all currently selected cards. After you've selected 3 cards, click on the device. So, yes. In short, we need to select 3 cards that will ultimately give us a digital root of 5. If you can do some basic math, this is rather easy. You basically just need to get 14, because 1 plus 4 is 5. So, easy way to do that, 1, 6, 7. And there you go. Then just click this. And you're good to go. Alright, I think this is gonna work. There we go. That's a new noise. Huh. Did it just unlock? Well, that light was red and now it's blue. No doubt about it. There's nothing keeping me in here now. Time to go. I don't need to screw around with that thing anymore. I need to get out of this room fast. As a final note before we leave the room, I would like to point out that this escape room actually does have a notable difference in the Japanese version. These were not shapes in the Japanese version. This was a deliberate change by the English version. In the Japanese version, the puzzle was based on the standard kana grid. While all the clues were in the same locations, the ship picture instead had a clue for the basic kana key, and the 2 slips were written in katakana. Specifically, they had the katakana for blue, which was written in red, and the katakana for red was written in blue. So, obviously, the English version changed this to make it a bit more understandable. Honestly, I kind of like this version of it more. It just works overall better. Click the door and we can get out. You found it.
Whoa!
I guess a lot of water suddenly materialized all at once. Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall. I guess he insulted the water's mother or something.
Ow!
The water tossed and turned him like a washing machine, and he only stopped rolling when he hit his head on the wall.
My head.
You'll probably live through worse, Junpei.
Wait, is it over?
Probably not.
Whew. That felt too much like being flushed down a toilet. Damn.
I don't even want to know how you know how that feels like. You must have had a rough childhood. Junpei struggled to his feet in the still rushing water.
Well, better than drowning, I guess. Am I in a hallway?
The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of the short flight of stairs.
Oh.
Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of this short staircase...
A door! Another door! Damn this water! Ugh.
Let me go!
Junpei leapt up the stairs straight for the door.
Oh, yes! It opened!
The door burst open and Junpei exploded out of it, only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible response could there have been to what he saw?
What the hell?
His voice trailed off and all he could do was stare. A polished floor stretched out before him, ornate staircases rising up from the edges, each one of them equidistant from the others. The stairs and pillars were solid wood, and Art Nouveau embellishments and decorations covered the walls and pillars. It looked like nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the early 1900s.
This is the inside of a ship?
Possibly. Junpei couldn't help but wonder.
Well...
The water quickly filling the hallway behind him suggested that, yes, he was. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved toward the stairs.
Yeah, that's what I thought. This is totally,
Wait, what the hell? A wave? Oh, shit! Shit! Okay, I gotta get out of here.
Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest on the polished floor, and ran toward the tremendous staircase in front of him.
C deck.
B deck. Hurry! Hurry!
Jeez, Junpei, do you not run? Get some exercise, man. As he ran, he glanced quickly at the plates mounted on the wall, denoting the decks of the ship.
A-deck's next.
He took the stairs two at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself, just as he began to wonder where, in fact, the stairs did lead.
What?
Junpei saw another person out of the corner of his eye.
People.
He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stair, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing to the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. And on the right side, 3 more.
A lot of people.
All told, there were 7 of them. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They'd stopped short when they saw Junpei, their eyes wide. He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there staring at one another. Junpei didn't move, one foot placed awkwardly on the next step in the middle of a stride. Who were these people? This entire interaction lasted only a matter of seconds. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again.
I guess it's another one of us now.
A dancer?
The woman who was dressed, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer. Her clothes covered very little, and her prodigious jewelry little more.
No, I'm not. You better get moving.
So, why are you dressed like this? With no further ceremony, she ran straight past Junpei and toward the doors behind him.
Okay then.
The sudden proximity of a woman with such striking assets left Junpei momentarily stunned. Get a hold of yourself, man. But the others wasted no time and quickly followed the strange woman.
Silver hair?
I'd say it's more white than silver, but sure, let's go with silver.
Huh?
The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. He threw a quick glance in Junpei's direction as he ran, muttering.
One of us, huh?
What?
Nothing.
Following him was an older man, his face calm and without fear. Soft wrinkles sprouted from his eyes, and he came close enough as he passed Junpei to see wisps of gray in his hair. His composure and shock of hair struck Junpei as rather like that of an elderly lion.
Going up won't do you any good. There are 2 doors, but neither of them will open.
Wait, hold on. The doors won't open?
The next to speak to Junpei was a girl with pink hair and a high voice.
Come on! Aren't you coming? You gotta hurry!
Imagine if they had just cast someone with a deep voice for no reason, and that line made no sense. I almost feel like that would have been a bit hilarious. Her small hand wrapped around the wrist of another man. His eyes were closed, almost as though he were sleeping. His features were graceful, almost serene, and he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. Something about his posture seemed very refined, and Junpei couldn't help feeling he was noble and dignified somehow. He'd certainly never seen one, but this man seemed like what Junpei had always imagined a prince would be like.
That's 9 of us then. All of the cards are in hand.
What does that mean? Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man had meant, but the girl with pink hair rushed past him.
Wait! They're gone. Just what is going on? There's an old man like a lion, a girl with pink hair, and a prince, and I have no idea what they're talking about.
Junpei, you were just... I'm just gonna say this. I think Junpei is one of the most relatable visual novel protagonists I've met. He just calls out the weird stuff happening around him, and I love it. He turned just in time to see 2 more people running toward him. One of them had a hair like a bird's nest and looked as though a stiff breeze might topple him. And the other was a veritable mountain of a man.
Huh?
Ah!
The scrawny one scuttled past Junpei as though he were running for something.
What was that all about?
Hey! What the hell are you just standing there for? Didn't you hear him? The doors on A deck are no good. We gotta check the doors on B deck. Got it? Now go!
Before he had a chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulder. With no more effort than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way.
Whoa!
Thrown off balance by the man in recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running toward.
Hey, man, that was dangerous.
Huh?
There were two pairs of large iron doors set into the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy, and each had handles jutting out from them. Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right...
4? And this one says... 5.
They're the same.
The guy Junpei had decided to call Silver was mumbling to himself.
The room I woke up in had a number on the door just like that.
You too, eh?
With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver.
My cell was the same. A number upon the door. I opened it, ran down the hallway outside, and found myself in a rather grand room full of stairs, as I suspected the rest of you.
It was as though the floodgates had been opened. They all began to talk at once.
Me too.
Same for me. There was a door with a number on it.
It soon became clear that each one of them had awoken in a room with a locked door and solved the puzzle to escape. They'd all ended up in the same room. Almost as if though they had been guided there.
Yes, we all saw the same thing. That's not important. We need to hurry.
You think I don't know that lady?
Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. Considering how slow Silver the Hedgehog usually is, I imagine he's not running that fast.
Open! Damn it!
Don't worry, Silver the Hedgehog fans. I love him. He's probably one of my favorite Sonic characters. But he is slower compared to some of the other cast. He grabbed hold of the door labeled 5 and pulled. However...
Fuck, it's not opening. This damn thing won't even budge.
Like I said, there will be harsh language in this game.
Out of my way!
The mountain grabbed Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path cleared, he took a few steps back and then threw himself at the door. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showed no signs of breaking or opening. The mountain threw himself at the door again.
A body slam from a guy that big didn't even budge it. There must be some other way.
Junpei turned toward door 4. Next to the door on the wall was a small box.
This looks just like the device next to the door in that room earlier.
Stopping here for a moment, I just want to show something. If you are in adventure mode, whenever Junpei goes into his inner narration, or rather, his thoughts, the screen will instead show this little blue wavy outline to indicate it. It's the closest thing adventure mode has to narration. Sort of. And back to it.
So that means this door is probably locked too. But still...
He had to check. Junpei grabbed a handle and threw all of his weight onto it. It was locked as tight as the door next to it, as he'd suspected.
Damn it!
Junpei punched the door. It did not respond. It gave him a restraining order.
Are there any other doors?
He'd barely finished the thought when the C-deck plate he passed on his way up sprang, unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back toward the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. If you were playing in adventure mode up to this point, the game would automatically switch you into novel mode for this scene. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew. He knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well.
Huh?
Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly toward her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was being held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. The quake caught the girl unprepared, and she fell.
Watch out!
Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her. Or so he thought.
Oh.
Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own.
Yeah.
He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment that seemed to stretch for a very long time, they stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. The silence was complete, a thick, muffling blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth.
Oh my gosh! Is that you, Jumpy?
Jumpy. Jumpy. Her words echoed through Junpei's head, and suddenly his memory returned.
Akane.
Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kuroshiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They'd gone to elementary school together for 6 years. But what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker crackled to life, and a cold, eerie voice filled the room.
What?
There is one thing I'd like to say about that scene, but I will wait until the crackly static is gone.
What's that voice?
They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last they found it. A speaker set in the ceiling. The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by the crackle of static.
This is...
Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it?
That guy in the gas mask! Hey, asshole! What the hell is this? Come on out here. I want to get a look at you.
What do you mean to do to us?
Nonary game.
What the hell's that?
The voice continued, implacable.
What is he talking about?
Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check this out.
Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt the telltale crumble of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. I'm surprised that thing is not tearing apart at the seams. From my experience, if you get paper wet, it's pretty much done if you, put any effort into moving it.
Hey, I got one too.
Then it would seem Zero has seen fit to grace us each with a letter. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man?
Is there any reason you can't read it? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he'd been asked.
On this ship, you will find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors.
How original, but simple to follow.
The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. So this thing on my arm is a bracelet.
He glanced around. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion.
The purpose of the game is simple. Leave this ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
There's one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised, this ship has begun to sink. On April 14, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into Earth's After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours. That is the time you will be given to make your escape.
And thus we have the title of the game.
I hear a bell.
The voice finished, and the speaker went silent.
I think it's coming from over by the stairs.
It's the clock telling us the time.
Everyone had their eyes on the antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came.
It rang 9 times, so 9 o'clock then?
I think it's 9 p.m. I couldn't see anything when I tried looking out the window earlier. It has to be nighttime.
If that is the case, then we would need to escape by 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Now it is time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck.
But like I said, now we have our title. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. The speaker went silent and did not speak again.
Hey! You bastard! What do you mean by that? Come out here, you asshole!
That guy won't stop shouting. And the others.
Hey.
Whew.
Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts.
I have way too many questions. Who is Zero? What's the nonary game? What's it for? Is he some nutjob just doing this to mess with us, or does he have some other purpose? And why pick me to be part of this insane game? And the others? Why are these 8 people here? And the most confusing of them all. Why is Akane here? I haven't seen her since elementary school. Why her? Why now? Coincidence? No. There's no way. There has to be a reason. I don't know what exactly, but there has to be.
Something rather interesting to note. This game was originally released on December 2009 for the Nintendo DS. So, while I'm using the mouse, obviously you would have been using the stylus. And obviously there was no voice acting. But the interesting thing to note is that the Nintendo DS version of the game had a downloadable demo. The demo was basically just the first escape room. And for the most part, it's the same, with one key difference. Akane is present in the demo. She wakes up in one of the bunk beds, like Junpei, and works with him to solve the escape room. It's something rather interesting, because they could have simply just gave you the first escape room as it is, but instead, they chose to have Akane present in it. There's even a unique dialogue for their interactions with the environment that you can find on the ZeroEscape wiki if you're interested. However, I will talk about this more later, because it's likely that this was done intentionally.
Very well.
The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence.
Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think?
Get moving?
Are you planning to open the numbered doors?
Hey, wait! Wait, don't tell me you're actually gonna do what this Zero says.
No, that's not what I mean.
The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I hope you're ready for a lot of talking. This is a visual novel. The next chunk of this video, pretty much the rest of this video, is just talking. Establishing our situation and the characters' personalities. So get comfortable.
I'm saying let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet.
What?
Where have we not looked? Everyone searched A deck already, right?
Yeah, we were kind of in a rush though, so we probably missed some things.
Understandable. You're trying not to die.
Why don't we check out the lower floors first? We should see how deep this place goes.
I can work with that.
Then let's go.
Whoa!
What the hell? It's completely submerged.
Damn. If the water level keeps rising like this, we're all gonna drown.
No, I don't believe that's something we have to worry about.
The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it.
See? The water's not flowing. That means the origin of the water has been stopped. Perhaps this Zero fellow has used some sort of remote control to seal a watertight door lower down. He said that our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, this water won't rise for 9 hours.
Then you're saying we won't sink till then?
Well, that may be a little too optimistic. No point to wishful thinking.
That's depressing.
I mean, hey, never say never. For all you know, there could be a bomb planted somewhere. Just blow up the whole place. Render everyone's, desperate attempts futile.
If we don't determine a way to advance from this point, we are stuck on A deck and C deck.
Heck, multiple bombs, if you want to cover this entire place.
Looks that way.
Hey, hold on. How about we check C deck before we jump to any conclusions?
Maybe put passwords on them to make sure people can't disarm them.
We might find something there.
Huh, you're right. I think we should look at the metal doors by the big staircase, too. They're pretty suspicious.
By virtue of the fact that they're doors.
No numbers on either door. And I don't see an authentication device either. Nope. It's locked.
This one too. Damn, none of the doors are opening.
Hey guys, over here. There's another door behind the stairs.
This one doesn't open either.
We'll see about that. Hey, old man, give me a hand.
Using force, I see. Let's give it a try. It won't budge.
Could you not just start shouting out of nowhere? You almost gave me a heart attack, you know.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't appear to have moved even with two of us trying. It's very well made.
I mean, what did you expect? You really thought this place would be so fragile that even two of you could take down one of these doors easily?
Idiots. Try using your brain first.
Huh?
And that tells you everything you know.
Take a closer look.
A keyhole?
Right. It's obvious what we need to open this door.
A key, huh?
You got a problem?
No, I just really doubt we'll find a key that easily.
Ignoring the tense air between the two, Junpei moved closer to examine the doorknob.
What's this?
Just above it was a strange mark in the shape of a circle surrounding a dot.
There's a mark on it. Does it mean something?
Hey, look! Over here, too!
Hmm?
Pink Hair was looking at double doors they hadn't examined yet.
More doors.
I think they're elevators. There's an inverted triangle button by them.
May as well try pressing it. Huh. Nothing.
Maybe the power isn't on.
Or we need to do something with this card reader. And there's a strange mark here, too. What is this? It looks like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the H.
That's a good way to describe it. Junpei stared at it for a while.
This is the symbol of Saturn. It's an astrological symbol.
Thank you, Queen of Random Knowledge.
Then the mark on the other door...
I will call you the Jeopardy Queen.
I think that was the sun symbol. We saw the same symbols on A deck.
We did?
I don't remember that.
A-deck, huh? Huh. I haven't been there, so I wouldn't know.
We may as well check again since we're talking about it.
Lion's words urged them on, and they took the stairs up.
There, the 2 doors next to the stairs.
I appreciate that I can rest my voice for the moment.
The one on the left had a keyhole with a similar symbol engraved on it.
She's right. It looks similar to what we saw downstairs.
This is an Earth symbol. The horizontal line symbolizes the equator, and the vertical one represents the prime meridian.
I see.
You just know everything, don't you? Junpei looked up at the ceiling.
The ceiling. Metal plates. Huh. It's as if it's covering something up.
Perhaps it was a dome of some kind.
I wish we could get out through there.
Be realistic. We'd need a lot of explosives to open that up.
The windows, too. Huh. They're all covered.
There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. They, too, were covered with metal plates.
In other words... we're trapped. All the exits go nowhere.
Junpei was not happy. The girl with pink hair spoke up.
Well, I'm sure they go somewhere. We just can't open them.
Then the mountain spoke.
You don't know that. For all we know, they just open into walls or take us in circles.
The prince did not agree.
No. I'm sure they go somewhere. Otherwise, what point would there be?
I don't know. Mind games make you think they go somewhere, then you go through all the effort to open them up, succeed, and then find out all that effort was for nothing.
And we can open them. Well, 2 of them at least.
Oh, you mean the numbered doors.
All eyes turned towards the doors with numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense.
Hey, wait a minute. I think I said this earlier, but I don't think we should do that.
The dancer moved in front of the doors as if to block them.
We'd have to be crazy to open these doors.
We'd have to be crazy not to open them. There is quite literally no other option. If we sit here, we're quite literally waiting to die.
If we do that, we're doing exactly what Zero wants us to do.
Suddenly, everyone began to speak at once.
May as well give it a shot. Can't stay here forever.
Yes, I'm in favor as well.
No, I'm totally against this.
But shouldn't we at least try?
We don't know what'll happen. We should stay here.
Let's put it to a majority vote. So far, you're the only one who's against.
We don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, this ship is going to sink.
Also that, we've already wasted half an hour. The clamor of voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. Their arguments grew more and more intense until people were shouting and screaming at one another.
Hey, shut up!
They fell silent, and all eyes turned to Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch.
Before we try and decide where we're going to go, there's something else we ought to do.
What's that?
We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other. I want to know who you guys are. Who you are, where you came from, why you ended up here. Don't tell me you aren't curious too.
They were silent. Some of them looked the other way, or bit their lip, or crossed their arms and stared at the ceiling. But one of them spoke up. It was Kaname.
I agree. I think Jumpy is right.
Jumpy?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about him. I just call him Jumpy. His name is Junpei.
She pointed towards Junpei.
We're childhood friends. We went to the same elementary school.
Wait, stop! Don't tell us stuff we didn't ask you about. Zero's probably watching us right now. What are you gonna do if he's listening in?
Oh, would that be bad?
Well, I'd probably, blow a raspberry into the, whatever was the closest thing you could be listening into, just to annoy him.
Hell yeah, it would! We don't know how much that bastard knows about us. Maybe he just picked a bunch of random people to kidnap. If that is the case, then it'd be dangerous for us to let him know too much. If Zero knows who we are, he could go after our families.
I mean, that might not be a problem for some of the people here.
Maybe he'd tell us he had them to get us to do stuff, you know?
Once again, that might not be a problem for some of the people here.
But we still need to know what our names are. It's going to be hard to talk to each other if we don't have names.
Alright, then why don't we have code names?
To him, apparently it seemed like the obvious solution.
Code names?
Yeah, we'll each pick something.
I will call you Agent 47.
Like, I'll be 7.
Close enough.
7? Why are you 7?
It seemed a fair question. The mountain struck out his left arm.
Because this bracelet number says 7.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You may think they're all just going to go by their numbers. But of course it's not going to be that simple. He smirked.
All right, I'm gonna be Santa.
Well, you certainly seem the most holly and jolly.
Any of you chumps know Japanese? No? Well, san means 3. So, I'll be Santa. You know, like Santa Claus. Fits, don't you think?
Sure.
Then your bracelet number.
Yeah, it's got a 3 on it. Good job, Grandpa.
Just like the mountain had done, Silver thrust out his left hand. Sure enough, the face of his bracelet read 3.
Very well then. I'll go next, shall I?
Please do.
My bracelet number is 1.
Okay.
Given that, I think Ace seems appropriate.
I'll be Lotus then. As I'm sure you all know, it has 8 petals.
I mean, some people may not know that. Also, you're incorrect. Technically.
Which means, of course, that my bracelet number is 8.
I would appreciate it if you would call me Snake. My bracelet number is 2.
You got a real pale hand there, buddy.
Since Ace has chosen cards, then I choose dice. Snake eyes, clearly. Which is particularly relevant given that I am blind.
You can't see?
Yeah, he's blind. He's not like some other anime characters, like, say, Brock, for instance, from Pokemon, where their eyes are just closed for kind of no reason.
I knew it.
He'd kept his eyes closed during the entire ordeal, which had suggested something strange, but to hear it said so casually, it was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at the prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it.
Me next!
There was one person, however, who didn't seem to be surprised in the least. The girl with pink hair.
I want to be Clover. You know, like a 4-leaf clover. Good luck, right?
Yep, I'm sure you will have the best luck. Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed the number 4. They'd come around to Junpei. He held out his bracelet.
Alright, my number's 5. So my code name is gonna be...
Why have one? It's not like there's any point to it now.
The dancer cut him off mid-sentence.
I mean, we all know your name already. You're Junpei.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's just not fair. I wanted to have fun. They all nodded. Akane stepped forward nervously.
Then you should all call me by my name too. Because, I mean, it doesn't seem...
It doesn't seem fair to Jumpy.
You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his.
Akane fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something.
What's your bracelet number?
It's 6.
She hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. You have a very colorful... What is that, a shirt? A sweater? I don't know what it is, but I like how colorful it is. Is it just me? As she'd claimed, the bracelet's face showed a 6. Junpei looked at it for a moment and thought,
Alright then, why don't we call you June?
June?
Yeah, you know, it's the 6th month of the year. So you're June.
Jumpy?
Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei, uncertain. He smiled back at her reassuringly.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
She thought about it for a few more moments, then seemed to come to a decision and gave Junpei a small nod.
Okay then.
Their names decided, Junpei ran over them quickly in his head.
So this is how everyone breaks down.
So, as we go over this, because they're literally just gonna say what everyone's code names are, I'm briefly going to mention, well, more specifically, I'm going to mention if anyone has a different code name in the Japanese version, because some of them do, what the meaning of those code names are, even though some of them have been explained already. And I'm also going to tell you the characters' ages, because it's never actually stated in the game for most of them. And I'm going to list off their voice actors, as well as at least a couple of roles they've done, both the English voice actor and the Japanese voice actor. The only thing I will not be mentioning is, of course, the characters' real names, aside from Junpei.
One is Ace.
Luckily, I have all of this written down, because I'd be a madman not to. Like Ace said, his codename comes from, well, playing cards. Specifically, an ace. In the Japanese version, his codename is instead Ichimiya, which is a city in Japan, and it effectively means the first shrine. He's 50 years old and born in 1977. For context, this game doesn't actually give its year anywhere in the game. However, the sequel confirms that this game takes place in the year 2027. In English, he is voiced by Richard Epcar, who's known for voices such as Ansem, Seeker of Darkness.
Your darkness, I gave it all to you. My dark shadow lingers. Someday, I will return!
And other voices in the Kingdom Hearts series. And Joseph Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. In Japanese, and I apologize if I mispronounce any of these names, he is voiced by Takaya Hashi, who's known for voices such as Donovan Desmond from the Spy Family anime adaptation, which I highly recommend you watch. Go watch Spy Family, it is just so good. And also Skullface from Metal Gear Solid. Or just Metal Gear if you want to be correct.
2 is Snake.
Appropriately, we move on to Snake. Like he said, the meaning of his codename refers to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is what happens when you roll a pair of dice and both sides face up on the 1. So basically, if one dice rolls up on a 1, the other rolls up on a 1, that is Snake Eyes. In Japanese, his name is Nirusu, or Nils, whichever you want to say it as. It apparently comes from the first name of a Danish physicist known as Niels Bohr. Additionally, the codename contains Ni, which means 2. If that sounds complicated, I agree. I generally prefer the English codenames, but that's just me. He was born in 2003 and is currently aged 24. In English, he's voiced by Taliesin Jaffe. I apologize if I mispronounced that. He's known for voices such as Blanca in Street Fighter and Aizen from Tales of Berseria. He's also known for his role on Critical Role. In Japanese, he's voiced and this was a surprise. In Japanese, he is voiced by Takahiro Sakurai, who is well known for notable roles including Merlin from Fate Grand Order, and is the Japanese voice of Cloud Strife from the Final Fantasy series. Yes, this man is Cloud.
3 is Santa.
Santa has no difference to his Japanese codename. It is the same. Like he said, San essentially means 3, and Santa being a nice reference to his silvery or white hair. It just works well. He is age 24 and born in 2003. In English, he is voiced by Sean Chiplock, who is known for numerous roles including Rivali from The Legend of Zelda, and being the English voice of Subaru Natsuki from the ReZero anime adaptation. Which, considering what this game involves, is oddly... It's just an odd coincidence. And I almost wonder if that was intentional casting. In Japanese, he is voiced by Kisho Taniyama. He is known for roles such as John Kirsten in Attack on Titan, and Kitan Bachika from Gurren Lagann. Again, I apologize for any mispronunciations. Some of these I had to look up, and some of these I have not watched. I have watched Attack on Titan, but I've never actually seen Gurren Lagann, so I have no idea how to pronounce some of these characters' names.
4 is Clover.
Clover's Japanese codename is Yotsuba. It comes from a phrase, Yotsuba no Koroba, which essentially means 4-leaf clover. So basically it's just literal for the English version. She is the character I specifically wanted to mention the age of. She is the one who made me want to mention this little detail, because in any Let's Play or live stream I have seen of the game, the player seems to automatically assume Clover is much younger than she appears. Probably because she's short. And I just want to mention this now because the game does occasionally have some perverted jokes. They're very few and far between, but they are here. And there is at least one joke about Clover, and I'm here to reassure you that Clover is 18 years old. She is born in 2009. So that'll make the joke less uncomfortable. In English, she is voiced by Wendy Lee, who's known for voices such as Athena Sykes in Ace Attorney,
Done. You bet. Let's do this.
Are you alright, miss?
and Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop. In Japanese, she is voiced by Yukari Tamura, who's voiced notable roles such as Nui in Kill la Kill and Luvia from the Fate series. I'm not even gonna bother trying to say Luvia's full name. I would be an insane man to try.
5 is me.
Junpei doesn't have a code name in the Japanese version either. However, Kotaro Uchukoshi, the main creator and writer of this game, did a Q&A sometime after it was released, and he clarified that if Junpei were given a code name, it would have been Hand, Star, or Penta. hand makes sense because 5 fingers, and a star because 5 points. Penta is instead meaning pentagon, a five-sided shape. He is 21 and born in 2006. In English, he is voiced by Evan Smith. He's voiced, and I had to look this up on IMDb. He's known for roles such as Daring and Dexter Charming from Ever After High. Yes, I'm not joking. As well as Zeno, a character from Trails of Cold Steel. Which reminds me, I really need to properly play the Trails series. I know a bit of Trails in the Sky, but I actually need to properly play it, and that's a story for another day. Although I will say, I personally believe Evan Smith gives the strongest performance among the English cast. None of them are bad, not at all, they're all quite good. I just think there are some scenes where Evan Smith just kind of knocks it out of the park and proves that he really should be allowed in more stuff. Give me a second. In Japanese, he is voiced by Tatsuhisa Suzuki. He is known for roles such as Noctis in Final Fantasy XV and Eve in Nier Automata.
6 is June.
I'm not going to mention the meaning behind Junpei's name, well, his actual name right now. The same with Akane. However, as for her code name, like he said, June. It's the 6th month of the year. In Japanese, her codename is instead Murasaki, which essentially means purple. Like her dress. And her eyes. Yes, her eyes are colored purple. It's a little hard to tell. It's also the 6th color of the rainbow. It may also refer to an amethyst, a gemstone associated with purple, and the number 6. She is 21 and born in 2006. Specifically, she was born on February. No. Hang on a second. I wrote so much on this, it's hard to look at it all. Okay, no. All I can say is she was born in 2006, she is 21, and interestingly enough, she was born exactly 9 days after Junpei. We gotta have that 9 motif going through this whole thing. In English, she is voiced by Rena or Rena Strober. She's known for voices such as Azura from the Fire Emblem series, specifically Fire Emblem Fates, and Bloodless from Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. In Japanese, she's voiced by Miyuki Sawashiro, who's voiced Celty from Durara and Cammy from Street Fighter. Some of you may also recognize her as the voice of Makoto from Yakuza 0.
7 is 7.
Once again, there's no difference to 7's name, aside from the fact that they sort of pronounce it as Seben, I believe, in the Japanese version. He's 45 years old and born in 1982. In English, he's voiced by Edward Bosco, who's known for voices such as Ada in Dust and Elysian Tale, and Chip Zanoff in Guilty Gear. In Japanese, he's voiced by Kenta Miyake, who, this surprised me, is the voice of All Might in My Hero Academia and Susanoo in Blaze Blue, and the voice of Vector the Crocodile from Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, this man has those voices, and it surprises me.
And 8 is Lotus.
Like Lotus said, her codename is based off of an 8-petal flower. However, she's technically incorrect. A lotus, botanically speaking, doesn't actually have 8 petals. However, a lotus is commonly used as a symbol in religion, and those symbols are often those symbols often depict it with 8 petals. So she's half correct. In Japanese, her codename is instead Yashiro. It's an actual real surname in Japan, and it contains the word Hachi, which essentially means 8. She is 40 years old and born in 1987. In English, she's voiced by Valerie Aram, who's known for voices such as Naoto Shirogane in the Persona series. Or rather, she's voiced Naoto in a number of the Persona 4 spin-offs. She is not the original voice of Naoto Shirogane from Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. That is someone else. And she's also voiced Morgana in Dot Hack Sign. Her Japanese voice actress is Ria Tanaka. She's done roles such as 1 in Drakengard 3 and CL from Mega Man Zero, which is the role I most know her for. As a side note, she actually also sings CL's vocal songs in that series. Songs that have her singing in both Japanese and French. She's quite the talented singer. And it is a funny little coincidence, Ria Tanaka is also the voice of Morgana in Dot Hack Sign. Like I said, it's a funny coincidence.
That means 8 of us have revealed our bracelet numbers. The only one left is...
That glasses guy with hair like a bird's nest.
You haven't said a thing so far, have you?
His skin was pale, his breathing was heavy, and he was soaked with nervous sweat. His behavior seemed very suspicious, or perhaps simply emotionally unstable. It was difficult to tell. Whatever the case, it seemed that he had only a fingertip's worth of a grip on his sanity. The girl with pink hair, Clover, walked up to him slowly. She put her hands on her hips and eyed him suspiciously.
What number are you?
He didn't answer. His bloodshot eyes twitched from person to person, and his breath came in hot pants.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
The man licked his dry lips with a shaking tongue and spoke with a voice like old paper.
Isn't it obvious? There are 9 people here. And you know who numbers 1 through 8 are. I'm the only one left.
So you're 9?
Yeah.
He extended a trembling arm. The bracelet did indeed say 9. Clover looked at it contemptuously.
What's your code name?
Code name?
What do you want us to call you? We all made up names. You should too.
I don't need one.
Why not?
Because I am not gonna stay here with you.
He took a shuddering breath and exhaled. Or exhaled, I'm sorry. Clover looked at him with something very like disgust.
You've got some sort of plan?
So, let me briefly talk about this, because I won't have a chance otherwise. Yes, the 9th man, as we're calling him, does not have a codename. But once again, Uchikoshi stated in a Q&A that if he had used a codename, it would have been Pigeon. And the reason why is because... God, that is terrible handwriting. What I wrote down was... codename would have been Pigeon, which would be the 9 plus the kanji for bird. So, yes. Essentially, if you combine on the kanjis for 9 and bird, it essentially makes Pigeon. At least to my understanding. I could be entirely mistaken. Also, 9 is an unlucky number in Japan, much like how 13 is considered an unlucky number here in America. 9 is also Q, or KU, which essentially can mean pain, suffering, torture, etc. The character is never given a confirmed age. However, as a fun fact, if you add up everyone else's ages that I have listed, Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Junpei, Akane/June, Seven, and Lotus, if you add up everyone else's ages that I've listed, they add up to 243, which, wouldn't you know, has a digital root of 9. And finally, the Knife Man's voice. This is certainly going to be probably the biggest surprise of them all. In English, he's voiced by Cam Clark, who some people will know for roles such as Simba, the lion, in Kingdom Hearts 2. Not from the movie, the game. And also the voice of Liquid Snake.
Brothers! Liquid! I've been waiting for this!
Yes, that Liquid Snake. From Metal Gear Solid. In Japanese, he is voiced by Nobu Tubita. And this threw me for a loop when I read it. He's the voice of Sergei from Azura's Wrath, and the Japanese voice of Sean Hastings from the Assassin's Creed series. I'm not joking.
I do.
Let's move on from that little revelation.
Yeah? What's that?
You sure you want to know?
Simply because my talking has gone on for far too long with these explanations.
Yeah?
All right, let me show you. I'm gonna do this!
By the time they realized what he was doing, it was too late to stop him. The man's body moved like a snake's. In the blink of an eye, he had slid around behind her and wrapped his arm around her waist.
Hey! What the hell do you think you're doing?
Silver, Santa, leapt forward toward Clover and the Knife Man. He was halfway there when...
Stay back!
Suddenly, the man's hand dove into his pocket.
Ah!
He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck.
If you get any closer, I'll cut her open! Yeah, that's right.
The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking that collar of his shirt.
Clover, are you all right?
The prince, Snake's voice sounded oddly concerned.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing.
What the hell are you trying to do?
I told you. This is my plan.
What are you gonna do to her, you sick son of a bitch?
Don't worry. I'm not gonna do anything to her. If she just does what I tell her to, I'll let her go.
He started to move backward, slowly, keeping his grip on Clover.
Slowly. That's right. Just follow me.
Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually, the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched it, then glanced around quickly and spoke.
Here. Verify. The left. Look on your left. Do you see the device on the wall? Place your hand on the scanner panel, the round part.
What if I don't?
The man's nostrils flared and he looked like he was about to choke.
Are you an idiot? What do you think? I could slit your throat right now. I'll kill you if I have to. All I need is your bracelet. Just do it. Do it now.
He pressed the knife against Clover's neck, hard.
Okay, I'll do it.
Slowly, she stretched her left hand out toward the device.
Like this?
Her back was to it, and she had to feel around for a moment before she found the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise, and then on the display above her hand, an asterisk appeared.
So that's how it works. He called that round part of the device the scanner panel. If we put our left hand on it, our bracelet number gets entered into the device. Then, should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open.
Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself. The number on it was 5.
Door 5. But why does this guy know so much about how this thing works? It's like he knows exactly what to do.
Good. Good. You're done. Next.
His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally, they stopped on the lion, Ace.
You, right? You're the one with the number 1 bracelet, right?
Yes, I am. So?
Then you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. What are you doing? Do it! Don't you care what happens to her?
Okay, just calm down.
Ace held up his hands, palms out. The knife man jerked his chin toward the device.
I'm coming over.
Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved toward the device. After what seemed like an agonizing eternity, he reached it.
Now, verify.
All right, this is what you wanted, right?
Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again, and a second asterisk appeared.
Now the device has both Clover and Ace's numbers, 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. It's the same as the number written on the door, but it won't open yet. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. One more person. If what Zero said is true, he needs one more person. Who? Who does he need?
Get back.
His voice shook, but the knife he held to Clover's throat made his words a command. Ace took 2, then 3 steps back.
No! Farther! More than that! Go all the way back!
Okay.
Slowly, Ace did what he was told. The knife man's lips curled into a cruel, twisted smile.
Wait, don't tell me.
That was when Junpei understood his plan.
Clover's 4 and Ace's 1. Added to the ninth man's 9. 4 plus 1 plus 9 is 14. And the digital root of 14, 1 plus 4, is 5. In other words...
Thank God you were all so cooperative. Now I can get out of this nightmare.
He pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. The door opened with a heavy metallic groan.
Good! I don't need you anymore!
He let go of Clover.
Wait!
Junpei leapt toward the knife man, but he wasn't fast enough.
Here! She's all yours!
The man shoved Clover and hopped through the door. Well, he's better than some other hostage takers. Usually they just kill the hostage anyway, or at least attempt to. At least he gave them back.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Granted, if he had done anything, then any leverage he would have had would have been gone.
I'm going off ahead now. Well then, goodbye.
He raised his hand and waved, a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with a dull clang of metal on metal.
Clover, are you all right?
Snake ran to Clover's side as she lay on the floor.
Yeah, I'm fine.
She climbed unsteadily to her feet and once there leaned heavily on Snake's shoulder for support.
damn it!
Junpei ran to the door.
That bastard!
The others followed him. Several pairs of hands grabbed hold of the handles and pulled.
Open, damn it!
They grunted and strained, but...
Shit! It won't budge.
That was when Lotus, the dancer, spoke. Her voice was quiet.
Do you hear something?
Like, what?
Like some sort of beeping.
Junpei pressed his ear against the cold metal of the door. The others did the same.
You're right. I can hear it too.
What is it?
Then they heard something else. It was the knife man.
Why isn't it stopping? God damn it! You lied!
Lied?
This wasn't supposed to happen! This is wrong! This is wrong!
His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another.
What is happening in there?
Open the door, please! I'm begging you! Help me! Please get me out of here! Get me out of here!
God damn it!
Junpei grabbed hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened.
Why? Why won't it work? Engaged? Is it because it's occupied?
Oh my god! There's no time left! Listen, I was lied to! He lied to me! He put me in here! It was him! He killed me! It was him!
The explosion rocked the room. Instinctively, they ducked, then stood up slowly when they realized there was no danger. No one spoke. Silence filled the room.
A beep?
All eyes turned toward it.
Did that thing just make that sound?
The display changed from engaged to vacant.
Let's see if we can open it.
7, the mountain, swallowed hard.
Okay.
Junpei nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. A red asterisk appeared on the LCD display.
Well, it registered my bracelet number. But it won't open with one person. We need at least 2 more people.
What to do? We can go with Ace and Lotus, Snake and 7, or Santa and June. There is no wrong option here. All of them will equal a digital root of 5. So pick whichever you like. I don't know. Something about Santa and June.
Santa and, June, you think you could give me a hand here?
They just seem like the options that I would want. The pun was a little too on the nose, but the mood was grim. Both Santa and June lifted their left hands silently. He verified, and she followed suit.
5 plus 3 plus 6 is 14. The digital root of 14, 1 plus 4 equals 5. This should do it. Now we just need to pull the lever on the side. You guys ready? I'm gonna open it.
Junpei grabbed the lever and looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. There was a metallic groan and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted out of it, carrying a stench that nearly made them gag. Looked at all that pizza sauce on the door. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth.
Oh my god.
Good God.
Lotus and Ace shuddered. 7 grunted.
Whoa, that's pretty bad.
Even Santa's voice shook.
He He blew up.
It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. So, yeah. We're basically in an anime slash visual novel version of Saw. At least to an extent. Also without showing any of the graphic gore. It's only described, so don't worry. She crumpled to the floor.
June, are you okay?
Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arm around her shoulders. That was when he noticed. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat.
What the hell? Where'd this fever come from?
June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax, and her whole body began to shake.
All right, okay, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk?
She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to a nearby chair.
Here we go.
As gently as he could, he set her down and...
How are you feeling? Are you all right?
She nodded, and as she did, a single huge tear rolled down the side of her face.
Why? Why did this happen?
Sure was nice that Zero provided chairs for us to sit in. Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief and choked by sobs.
Why did this happen?
Junpei spun around.
Do any of you know what the fuck is going on here? Who's Zero? What's this nonary game? Come on! Anybody? Anything?
I mean, we know he has fantastic choice in chairs.
What the hell is going on? What are we doing here?
Playing a game. No one spoke. Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Seven, and Lotus. They simply stood there, 7 pairs of downcast eyes and 7 grim lines from mouths. June's body shook with silent sobs. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. Then suddenly, in the cold, heavy silence that had enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall. 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then on the 10th ring, it stopped. The sound of the bell faded away into silence.
It's 10 o'clock then.
Ace said what each one of them had been thinking.
That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement.
Seven's deep voice echoed across the room.
Fuck! I've had enough of this crap!
Santa leapt to his feet, his fist clenched.
How long are we gonna pussyfoot around like this? We've only got 8 hours until this time limit Zero is going on about is up! Let's get going already! Go! Go!
Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. They stared back at him, their eyes blank and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke.
No, I refuse. I'm not gonna end up like him.
Him? You mean the 9th man?
Of course, who else?
In his mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again.
Blood. Oh. Blood and pieces of flesh.
The dark, reddish-black pool of blood. The scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like the blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful.
That's no way for a person to die.
The knife man's neck had been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed, and the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied, either by the explosion or by gravity. He had landed on his back, and stark white ribs jutted out of his chest, like the legs of some sort of macabre crab. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach.
I think he just screwed up.
Eyebrows went up, and Santa continued.
He probably set off some sort of trap, and that killed him. I'm not gonna screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive.
Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find particularly humorous.
What's so goddamn funny?
Oh, my apologies. You were just, so very confident. I couldn't help myself.
What the fuck?
I need that as like a reaction clip. Or a reaction sound clip, because that just works too well.
I think you've mistaken the situation.
Huh?
Oh, gaseous Snake, tell us your wisdom. The wisdom that solid and liquid clearly do not have.
The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with the trap. Or at least, not the sort of trap you imagine it did.
Then?
He broke one of Zero's rules. That was why he died. Quite simple if you think about it.
Huh?
You still don't... All right. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? Specifically, what did he say about the number of people?
He said only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door, right?
And after that? You've forgotten the relevant part. What did Zero say?
Santa furrowed his brow in thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said that everyone who verified had to go. These other two options are incorrect.
All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute, right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means that groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go through.
That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei.
A gold star? Goody! I feel like I'm in kindergarten again. Snake inclined his head towards Junpei.
The ninth man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed.
And Zero's watching us from somewhere, making sure we don't break any rules.
Oh, I'm not so sure of that.
Why not?
Because this execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice? There's no need for him to monitor us.
What do you mean?
Snake looked at Seven with what could only be described as pity and sighed.
Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. I had hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely.
He couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. When Ace spoke, he gave words to everyone else's thoughts.
Do you know something?
Well, I know a great many things, but yes.
Smartass.
What is it you know?
Here.
Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket.
A card? What does it say?
See for yourself.
With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke.
Come on now, what's the point of giving me this?
Give me that.
Santa snatched the card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion.
Huh? The hell is this?
Seven tugged it out of Santa's hands.
I see.
The card went from Seven to Lotus, from Lotus to June, and finally to Junpei. He looked at it and understood.
This is Braille.
Braille, the written language of the blind. The card was covered with small, embossed bumps. Junpei could recognize it, but he certainly couldn't read it.
Sorry, guys, I can't read this. Here, have it back.
Junpei handed the card back to Snake, who nodded at him with a small smirk.
Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card?
I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it is a message from Zero.
From Zero?
A message?
What does it say?
Suddenly, everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa looked especially as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answer from him. Snake raised his hand.
Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't need to force me. I'll read it.
That reminds me, Snake, what is this outfit you've got on? It's like a little sailor outfit with a tie. I'm curious, were you dressed up this way, or is this just your normal attire? It's just very specific. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke.
Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you of the function of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet.
The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every numbered door, you will find a red. The dead is the deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I am afraid this might be something of a surprise. I have placed a small bomb inside of you and people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I have no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. In other words, you will be unable to regurgitate it. I suggest you do not try. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse, or timer, for the bomb in your body. There is only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door. Once you have done so, the timer will activate, no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds.
8 plus 1 is 9. How fitting.
If, after that time, the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their number at the red must also verify their numbers at the dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you need only pull the lever at its side, and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds, you will be dead. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed.
How fitting.
So long as the doors open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or the backside of where his heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically.
You know, there is something just occurred to me, and this is with hindsight of what happens later on. I will bring it up later, but it has something to do with a certain character's, just one certain character in particular, and I'll talk about it when we get to it, because it just dawned on me of how exactly this works.
There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode.
Gee, it's a good thing we didn't try to, force the bracelet off in the first 5 minutes of the game. Right, Junpei? Sure a good thing that didn't happen. Otherwise, we would have exploded. Right?
This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you. For a time, you would be able to control your fate.
Fate stay night.
I wish you the best of luck.
Snake finished reading and carefully returned the card to his pocket.
So it's saying only those who verify their numbers at the red can pass through the numbered doors. Teams can't add or subtract people after they're scanned in. The reds, deads, and bracelets enforce the rules. They're judge, jury, and executioner.
Are you guys serious?
Shit! A fucking bomb! Come out! Come out, damn it!
Did you not hear him? In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put fingers down their throats and began to gag. Guys, all you're gonna do is empty out your breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever you had last to eat. You already explained, you can't get it out. Just accept your fate, you might blow up. The rest stiffened. Some touched their stomachs. Some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach.
There's a bomb inside me.
The thought of it made him queasy.
Oh.
His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak.
What made Zero think creating this horror show of a game was a good idea?
Well, it's certainly entertaining for anyone watching. Junpei looked over at the others.
All right. I'm gonna ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero?
They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the others would say. Finally, Santa spoke.
Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. What the hell? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like surprise or something?
Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once.
I saw that too.
I did as well.
Me too. I didn't see inside the mask, though. That mask, it was really scary.
Huh?
Oh, so all of our abductions were the same. We were taken from home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had a mask on. There was white smoke, and then each of us passed out. We woke up to find ourselves on D-Deck, in a room with a 3-level bunk bed.
I am slightly curious if everyone who had to do this had to specifically make a digital route with their specific number. Like if 7 had to make a 7, and if Ace had to make a 1.
How about you, Seven? Did the same happen to you?
Only 7's story seemed to lack the detail of the others.
Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yours.
That was all he had said. It occurred to Junpei that at the time it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue.
Okay, that's good enough for now.
He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger.
So, I have a question.
That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover.
Snake and Clover, you were both kidnapped from the same room, and you woke up together.
Junpei looked at them thoughtfully. So, what number did you actually have to make a digital route of? 2 or 4? Or did you have 2 different doors?
So, what's the deal with the two of you anyway?
I would have liked to have seen how that played out. It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide.
We're siblings.
Siblings?
Yes. Snake is my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister.
I see being a smartass runs in the family.
That really so hard to understand?
Junpei was taken aback. The others seemed just as surprised.
She is correct, of course.
He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder.
Are you, surprised?
Well, yeah, but...
Not really. Believe me, I've watched a lot of anime, I've played a lot of games, I've seen siblings who look absolutely nothing alike. This does not faze me.
Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance.
Snake pointed at Junpei and June.
Oh, you mean between Jumpy and me?
Ah, yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you?
Wait, you went to school together?
Yeah.
June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention.
Well, yeah.
My voice is getting very hoarse right now. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible.
Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way?
No.
Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims, and that leads you to the perp. Textbook stuff.
Believe me, it would not work in this instance.
Junpei. June. Does any of this ring a bell?
Huh. Ring a bell.
Ring a bell?
Ring a bell. They looked at one another, and it looked, and like it was staged. They both tilted their neck at the same time.
Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multimillionaire.
A millionaire?
Son?
Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich.
Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Most likely, Zero is simply the representative of a larger group.
What type of group would that be?
What sort of organization?
It could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group.
What a soulful answer.
Perhaps this is all some sort of psychological experiment.
If it is, then it's a pretty fucked up experiment. I mean, come on! A guy's dead!
The word dead hung on the air heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again.
I don't know who the hell this Zero asshole is, but I know for sure he's gotta be pretty fucked up in the head to do all this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues.
Even with the specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time.
I thought we were finished with that topic.
But then what should we do?
We should talk it through.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, enough! All we're doing is talking!
I mean, once you get a group of people talking, it's hard to stop. Santa threw up his hands, his voice filled with irritation.
Talking won't solve anything! It can't help us find our way out of here! You really sure you want to just sit around? We've only got 7.5 hours left. They already wasted 1.5 hours of our 9 hours.
Great! Also, Santa, what is with these? What is hanging around your neck, and why? Like I do like, believe me, I do like the fashion sense, but... God, my throat is hoarse. I like the fashion sense, but God, why? Also, is your shirt broken and hanging over your pants here? What is this, man? Everyone there was already on the edge of panic. What Santa told them only made that feeling more intense. No one was willing to argue this time.
You're right.
Very well then. There's only one way for us to proceed.
Sure not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump.
Well, it's stupid to just sit around here doing nothing.
Well, thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works.
Correct. And so long as we all follow the rules, we will most likely be all right.
But
But what?
who's going to go in which door?
June looked toward the numbered doors.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door.
Then it would seem we will have to split up.
Wait.
Lotus looked terrified.
I'm telling you now, there is no way in hell that I'm going into door 5.
Come on now, don't be selfish.
Call me whatever the hell you want. I'm not going in there. If I'm going to have to walk through all that blood, then I'd rather stay here.
And we were doing so well.
Ace shook his head sadly.
Sorry, but I ain't going in there either. Someone else can go into door 5.
Oh, Santa, not you too.
Well, there's a meme-worthy line.
Hey man, I just bought these shoes.
Of course.
If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over them, you got another thing coming.
That was the last straw.
What the hell, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going?
Yeah, so? Doesn't mean I wanted to go into door 5.
Oh, God.
So many of these voice clips just kind of work so well out of context. There was an awkward silence. Finally, Seven spoke.
Fine, I'll go into door 5. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me?
There was another long silence. This time, Snake was the one to break it.
I'll go.
What?
Don't worry. You'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later.
How do you know that?
Because I do.
That's not an answer! If you're going, I'm going too. I'm going into door 5.
What am I going to do with you?
There's nothing you have to do.
Ace stepped forward.
If I join you, the problem is solved, correct? 7 is 7, and Snake is 2. And if you add Clover's 4 and my 1, the digital route will be 5.
7 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 14. The digital root of 14. 1 plus 4 is 5.
Oh, it works perfectly! The 4 of us can go into door 5!
Wait, what about the other 4? What's their digital route gonna be?
Junpei did a quick mental calculation.
Lotus, Santa, June, and me. Our bracelet numbers are 8, 3, 6, and 5. 8, 3, 6, 5. What would our digital route be?
Well, that's easy. 4.
8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 5 is 22. So, the digital root of 22, 2 plus 2 equals 4.
It's perfect. He repeated what he determined.
It's 4. Add up our 4 bracelet numbers and the digital root is 4.
Then we can go into door 4.
Yeah. Huh. That worked out well.
Yeah. A little too well.
So the team assignments will be like this. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace, they would go through door 5. Lotus, Santa, June, and me will go through door 4. Are these really the teams I want? Beyond door 5 is what remains of the 9th man. I never want to see that thing again, but something's telling me that it'd be a good idea to examine the corpse, even just a little closer. Of course, if I went through door 5, I wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. I could bring June with me through door 5, but that means she'd have to see the body in there. I don't want to put her through that.
Junpei was torn.
Should I stay silent and go through door 4? Or should I stop them and insist on door 5?
As he turned his options over and over in his mind, Ace spoke up.
All right, then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go?
He began to walk toward door 5.
I'm going through door 5.
Clover and Snake followed, with 7 a short distance behind.
We're over there too, right, Snake?
The door's not going anywhere. Slow down.
Which door?
So, we have a choice. Door 4 or door 5. As with most visual novels, you will get multiple endings depending on your choices throughout the story. Some of these are simple differences in dialogue, but others are more substantial. We will be saving that for next time. For now, though, let's save. Because my throat hurts a lot at the moment. No. But yes, if you've enjoyed this, well, I hope you enjoyed it. thank you for watching, and we'll continue our journey through 999 next time. I hope to show you as much of this game as I possibly can, because it's easily one of my favorite visual novels, and I want people to learn more about this series before the next Somnium Files game. But yes, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, you know, do all those things if you want to. At the very least, leave a comment, since it can help me improve. But yes, thank you for watching, and have a good day. Coming back here for a moment, in case you were curious about what would happen if you chose one of the other options, and as you can see, the game will specifically gray out any option you have already previously chosen. Just in case you're curious about any extra dialogue from other choices, let's choose Ace and Lotus.
Ace, Lotus, you think you could give me a hand here?
The pun was a little too on the nose, but the mood was grim. Both Santa and June lifted their left hands silently. He verified and she followed suit.
5 plus 1 plus 8 equals 14. The digital root of 14, 1 plus 4 equals 5. This should do it. Now we just need to pull the lever on the side. You guys ready? I'm gonna open it.
Like I said, there's virtually no difference. The other option of Snake and 7 also doesn't really offer any difference.
Snake, 7. You think you could give me a hand here?
The pun was a little on the nose, but the mood was grim. Both Santa and June lifted their left hands silently. He verified and... He verified and she followed suit. I guess they just copy and pasted the text. That's a funny little discovery.
5 plus 2 plus 7 equals 14. The digital root of 14, 1 plus 4 equals 5. This should do it. Now we just need to pull the lever on the side.
Like I said, no real difference. Just choose whoever you like. So, what happens if you answer Snake's explanation incorrectly? This was obviously the correct answer. So, let's be dumb and say that only 2 people can go through, even though we know that's not true.
That only 2 people could go through, or something like that. No, wait. That's wrong.
It was on the tip of Junpei's tongue when Lotus beat him to the punch.
All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. That's what the letter said.
Well, that certainly shows who was paying attention.
In other words, no less than 3 and no more than 5.
Exactly.
Snake inclined his head toward Lotus.
The 9th man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed.
And Zero's watching us from somewhere.
So, yes. That's basically the only difference. Snake will not give Junpei a gold star, which is truly a shame. But it does show that Lotus is paying attention. That she's actually one of the smarter characters here. The same thing happens if you choose this option. More than 6 people can go through. Again, obviously not true.
It was something about how more than 6 people could pass through. No, wait. That's wrong.
It was on the tip of Junpei's tongue when Lotus beat him to the punch.
All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. That's what the letter said. In other words, no less than 3 and no more than 5.
Exactly.
Snake inclined his head toward Lotus.
The ninth man, however, broke that rule.
So yes, no other difference besides that. Once again, among all these choices, 4 is obviously the only correct choice. So let's just be dumb and choose the wrong ones.
2. It'd be 2. That means there's no way we can pass through door 4. Wait. Hold on a second. Something's off.
Junpei ran the numbers again.
8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 5 is 22. So, the digital root of 22, 2 plus 2 equals 4.
He repeated what he determined.
It's 4.
So yes, Junpei will merely correct himself after thinking about it. Same thing here with 3.
3. It'd be 3. That means there's no way we can pass through door 4. Wait. Hold on a second. Something's off.
Junpei ran the numbers again.
8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 5 is 22. The digital root of 22, 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's 4.
And 5.
5. It'd be 5. That means there's no way we can pass through door 4. Wait. Hold on a second. Something's off.
Junpei ran the numbers again.
8 plus 3 plus 6 plus 5 is 22. So, the digital root of 22, 2 plus 2 equals 4.
He repeated what he determined.
It's 4.
So yes, there was no real point to showing these little extra choices. They don't impact anything, but, you know, may as well get them out of the way. Show you just in case you were curious. And at least a couple of them were funny. So yes, thank you for watching. Have a good night.